to thy oath and band brought hither Henry Hare to thy bold son, to make good the boisterous late appeal, which then our leisure would not let us hear against the Duke of Norfolk, Thomas Mowbray.
I have, my liege.
Tell me, moreover, hast thou sounded him if he appealed the Duke on ancient malice, or worthily as a good subject should on some known ground of treachery in him?
As near as I could sift him on that matter, on some apparent danger seen in him, aimed at your highness, no inveterate malice.
Then call them to our presence. Face to face, and following brow to brow, ourselves will hear the accuser and the accused freely speak. High stomach are they both, and full of ire, in rage as death as the sea, hasty as fire.
Many years of happy days before my gracious sovereign, my most loving liege.
Each day still better others' happiness, until the heavens envying earth's good hap adds an immortal title to your crown.
We thank you both. Yet one but flatters us as well appeareth by the cause you come, namely to appeal each other of high treason. Cousin of Hereford, what dost thou object against the Duke of Norfolk, Thomas Mowbray?
First, heaven be the record to my speech. In the devotion of a subject's love, tendering the precious safety of my prince, and free from other misbegotten hate, come I, appellant, to this princely presence. Now, Thomas Mowbray, do I turn to thee, and mark my greeting well, for what I speak my body shall make good upon this earth, or my divine soul answer it in heaven. Thou art a traitor and a miscreant, too good to be so, and too bad to live, since the more fair and crystal is the sky, the uglier seem the clouds that in it fly. Once more, the more to aggravate the note, with a foul traitor's name stuff I thy throat, and wish, so please my sovereign, ere I move, what my tongue speaks my right drawn sword may prove.
Let not my cold words here accuse my zeal. It is not the trial of a woman's war. The bitter clamor of two eager tongues can arbitrate this cause betwixt us twain. The blood is hot that must be cooled for this, yet am I not of such tame patience boast as to be hushed and not at all to say. First, the fair reverence of your highness curbs me from giving reins and spurs to my free speech, which would post until it had returned these terms of treason, double down his throat, setting aside his high blood's royalty, and let him be no kinsman to my liege. I do defy him, and I spit at him, call him a slanderous coward and a traitor, which to maintain I would allow him odds, and meet him were I tied to run afoot, even to the frozen ridges of the Alps, or any other ground inhabitable wherever Englishman doth set his foot. Meantime, let this defend my loyalty. By all my hopes most falsely doth he lie.
Pale, trembling coward! There I throw my gage, disclaiming here the kindred of the king, and lay aside my high blood's royalty, which fear, not reverence, makes thee to accept. If guilty dread have left thee so much strength as to take up mine honor's pawn, then stoop! By that, and all the rights of knighthood else will I make good against thee, arm to arm what I have spoke, or thou canst worse devise.
Not taken up, and by that sword I swear, which gently laid my knighthood on my shoulders, I will answer thee in any fair degree of chivalrous design of knightly trial, and when I mount, alive may I not light, if I be traitor or unjustly fight.
What doth our cousin lay to Mowbray's charge? It must be great that can inherit us so much as a thought of ill in him.
Look what I speak, my life shall prove it true. That Mowbray hath received 8,000 nobles in name of lendings for your highness soldiers, the which he hath detained for lewd employments, like a false traitor and injurious villain. Besides, I say, and will in battle prove, or here or elsewhere, to the furthest verge that ever was surveyed by English eye, that all the treasons for these 18 years complotted and contrived in this land, fetched from false Mowbray their first head and spring. Further, I say, and further will maintain upon his bad life to make all this good, that he did plot the Duke of Gloucester's death, suggest his soon-believing adversaries, and consequently, like a traitor coward, sluiced out his innocent soul through streams of blood, which blood, like sacrificing Abel's cries, e'en from the tongueless caverns of the earth, to me for justice and rough chastisement. And by the glorious worth of my descent, this arm shall do it, or this life be spent.
How high a bitch is resolution so. Thomas of Norfolk, what sayest thou to this?
Now let my sovereign turn away his face, and bid his ears a little while be deaf, till I have told this slander to his blood, how God and good men hate so foul a liar.
Mowbray! Impartial are our eyes and ears. Were he my brother, nay, my kingdom's heir, as he is but my father's brother's son, now by my scepter's all I make avow. Such neighbor nearness to our sacred blood should nothing him privilege, nor partialize the unstooping firmness of my upright soul. He is our subject, Mowbray, so art thou. Free speech and fearless I to thee allow.
Then Bolingbroke, as low as to thy heart, through the false passage of thy throat, thou liest. 3 parts of that receipt I had for Calais, dispersed I duly to his highness soldiers. The other part reserved I by consent, for that my sovereign liege was in my debt, upon the remainder of a dear account, since last I went to France to fetch his queen. Now swallow down that lie. For Gloucester's death I slew him not, but to my own disgrace neglected my sworn duty in that case. For you, my noble Lord of Lancaster, the honourable father to my foe, once I lay in ambush for your life. A trespass that doth vex my grieved soul, but ere last I did receive the sacrament. I begged your grace's pardon, and I hoped I had it. This is my fault. As for the rest, appealed! It issues from the rancor of a villain, a recreant and most degenerated traitor, which I boldly will defend, and interchangeably hurl down my gage upon this overweening traitor's foot, to prove myself loyal even in the best blood chambered in his bosom, where in haste most heartily I pray your highness to assign us our trial day.
Back, kindle, gentlemen, be ruled by me. Let's purge this collar without letting blood. This we prescribe, though no physician. Deep malice makes too deep incision. Forget! Forgive, conclude, and be agreed. Now, doctor say this is no month to bleed. Good uncle, let this end where it begun. We'll call the Duke of Norfolk, you your son.
To me a makepeace shall become my age. Throw down my son, the Duke of Norfolk's gate.
And Norfolk throw down his.
When, Harry, when? Oh, Gideon spits I should not bid again.
Norfolk, throw down! We bid, there is no boot.
Myself I throw, dread sovereign, at thy foot. My life thou shalt command, but not my shame. The one my duty owes, but my fair name. Despite the death that hangs upon my grave, the dark dishonour's use thou shalt not have. I am disgraced, impeached, and baffled here. Pierced to the soul with the slander's venom spear, which hath no balm to cure, but his heart blood which breathed is poison.
Rage must be withstood. Give me his gage. Lions make leopards dead.
Yea, but not change his spots. Take but my shame, and I resign my gage. My dear, dear Lord, the purest treasure mortal times can afford is that of spotless reputation. That away in men are but a gilded loom or a painted clay. A jewel in a 10 times bared up chest is a bold spirit in a loyal breast. My liege, for my honour, let me try. For that I live, for that I will die.
Cousin, throw up your gage. Do you begin?
Oh, God, defend my soul from such deep sin. Shall I seem crestfallen in my father's sight? Or with pale beggar fear impeach my height before this outdared dastard? Ere my tongue shall wound my honour with such feeble wrong, or sound so base a parle, my teeth shall tear the slavish motive of recanting fear, and spit it bleeding in his high disgrace, where shame doth harbour, e'en in Mowbray's face.
We do not want to sue, but to command! But since we cannot do to make you friends, be ready as your lives shall answer it at Coventry upon St. Lambert's Day. There shall your swords and lances arbitrate the swelling difference of your settled hate. Lord Marshal! Command our officers at arms be ready to direct these home alarms.
Alas, the part I had in Woodstock's blood doth more solicit me than your exclaims to stir against the butchers of his life. But since correction lieth in those hands which made the fault that we cannot correct, put we our quarrel to the will of heaven, who, when they see the hours ripe on earth, shall rain hot vengeance on offenders' heads.
Finds brotherhood in thee no sharper spur? Hath love in thy old blood no living fire? Edward's 7 sons, whereof thyself art one, were as 7 vials of his sacred blood, or 7 fair branches springing from one root. Some of those 7 are dried by nature's course, some of those branches by the destinies cut. But Thomas, my dear Lord, my life, my Gloucester, 1 vial full of Edward's sacred blood, 1 flourishing branch of his most royal root is cracked, and all the precious liquor spilt, his hat down, and his summer leaves all faded by envy's hand, and murder's bloody axe, oh good! His blood was thine. That bed, that womb, that metal, that self-mold, that fashioned feet, made him a man. And though thou livest and breathest, yet art thou slain in him. Thou dost consent in some large measure to thy father's death, and that thou seest thy wretched brother die, who was the model of thy father's life. Ugh! Call it not patience, Gaunt, it is despair. In suffering thus thy brother to be slaughtered, thou showest the naked pathway to thy life, teaching stern murder how to butcher thee. That which in mean men we entitle patience is pale, cold cowardice in noble breasts. What shall I say? To safeguard thine own life, the best way is to venge my Gloucester's death.
God is the quarrel! For God's substitute, his deputy anointed in his sight hath caused his death, the which, if wrongful, let heaven revenge. For I may never lift an angry arm against his minister.
Why then, alas, may I complain myself?
To God, the widow's champion and defense.
Why then I will. Farewell, O God. Thou goest to Coventry, there to behold our cousin Hereford and Phil Mowbray fight. Oh, sit my husband's wrongs on Hereford's spear, that it may enter butcher Mowbray's breast. Or if misfortune miss the first career, be Mowbray's sin so heavy in his bosom, that they may break his foaming courser's back, and throw the rider headlong in the list, a cane of recreant to my cousin Hereford. Farewell, old Gaunt. And I sometimes brother's wife with her companion grief must end her life.
Sister, farewell. I must to Coventry. As much good stay with you as go with me.
Yet one word more. Grief boundeth where it falls, not with the empty hollowness, but weight. I take my leave before I have begun, where sorrow ends not when it seemeth done. Commend me to thy brother Edmund York. Lo, this is all. Oh nay, yet depart not so, though this be all, do not so quickly go. I shall remember more. Bid him, what? With all good speed, at Flashy visit me. Alack, and what shall good old York there see but empty lodgings and unfurnished walls? unpeopled offices, untrodden stones, and what here therefore welcome but my groans? Therefore commend me. Let him not come there to seek out sorrow that dwells everywhere. Desolate, desolate will I hence and die. The last leave of thee takes my weeping eye.
My Lord Merle, is the Duke of Norfolk come?
Yea, at all points and longs to enter in.
Harry of Hereford, sprightfully and bold, stays but the summons of the appellant's trumpet.
Why then the champions are prepared, and stay for nothing but his majesty's approach.
Proceed to swear them in the justice of their cause.
In God's name and the King's, say who thou art, and why thou comest thus lightly clad in arms. Against what man thou comest, and what thy quarrel. Speak truly on thy knighthood and thy oath, as so defend thee heaven and thy valor.
My name is Thomas Mowbray, Duke of Norfolk, who come here engaged by my oath, which God defend a knight should violate, in defending of my loyalty and truth to God, my king, and my succeeding issue against the Duke of Hereford here that appeals me, and by the grace of God in this mine arm, to prove him in defending of myself a traitor to my God, my king, and me. And as I truly fight, defend me heaven.
Harry of Hereford, Lancaster, and Derby am I, who ready here to stand in arms to prove by God's grace and my body's valor enlist on Thomas Mowbray, Duke of Norfolk, that he's a traitor, foul and dangerous, to God of heaven, King Richard, and to me. And as I truly fight, defend me, heaven.
On pain of death, no person be so bold or daring hardy as to touch the lists, except the marshal and such officers appointed to direct these fair designs.
Lord Marshal, let me kiss my sovereign's hand and bow my knee before his majesty. For Mowbray and myself are like two men that vow a long and weary pilgrimage. Then let us take a ceremonious leave and loving farewell of our several friends.
The appellant in all duty greet your highness and craves to kiss your hand and take his leave.
We will descend and fold him in our arms. Cousin of Hereford, as thy cause is right, so be thy fortune in this royal fight. Farewell, my blood, which if today thou shed, lament we may, but not revenge thee dead.
Oh, let no noble eye profane a tear from me if I be gored with Mowbray's spear. As confident as is the falcon's flight against a bird, do I with Mowbray fight. My loving lord, I take my leave of you. Of you, my noble cousin, Lord of Earl, not sick, although I have to do with death, but lusty, young, and cheerly drawing breath. Lo, as at English feasts, so I regreet the daintiest last to make the end most sweet. brow, the earthly author of my blood, whose youthful spirit in me regenerate doth with a twofold vigor lift me up to reach a victory above my head, and proof unto mine armor with thy prayers, and with thy blessings steel my lance's point, that it may enter Mowbray's waxen coat, and furbish new the name of John a Gaunt, e'en in the lusty behaviour of his son.
God in thy good cause make thee prosperous. Be swift like lightning in the execution, and let thy blows doubly redoubled fall like amazing thunder on the casque of thy adverse, pernicious enemy. Rouse up thy youthful blood. Be valiant and live.
On innocence and St. George to thrive.
However God or fortune cast my lot, here lives or dies true to keep Richard's throne, a loyal, just, and upright gentleman. Never did captive with a freer heart cast off his chains of bondage and embrace his golden, uncontrolled enfranchisement. More than my soul doth celebrate this feast of battle with mine adversary. My most mighty liege, my companion peers, take from my mouth the wish of happy years. As gentle and as jocund as to jest go I to fight, truth hath a quiet breast.
Farewell, my lord. Securely I espy virtue with valor counted in thine eye. Order the trial, Marshal, and begin.
Henry of Hereford, Lancaster and Derby, receive thy lance, and God defend the right.
Strong as a tower in hope, I cry amen.
Henry of Hereford, Lancaster and Derby stands here for God, his sovereign, and himself, on pain of death to be found false and recreant, to prove the Duke of Norfolk, Thomas Mowbray, a traitor to his God, his king, and him, and dares him to set forward to the fight.
Here standeth Thomas Mowbray, Duke of Norfolk, on pain to be found false and recreant, both to defend himself and to approve Henry of Hereford, Lancaster, and Derby to God, his sovereign, and himself disloyal, courageously and with a free desire, attending but the signal to begin.
Sound drums! Set forward, combatants! Stay! The king hath thrown his water down.
Let them lay by their gauges and their swords and both return back to their places again. Withdraw with us, and let the pipe sound while we return these dukes what we decree. With our counsel we have done. For that our kingdom's earth should not be soiled with the dear blood that it hath fostered. And for our eyes who hate the dire aspect of civil wounds ploughed up with neighbour swords, and for we think the eagle-winged pride of sky-aspiring and ambitious thoughts with rival-hating envy set on you to wake our peace, which in our country's confines draws the sweet infant breath of gentle sleep, which so roused up with boisterous untuned drums and harsh resounding trumpets, dreadful bray and grating shock of wrathful iron arms might from our country's confines fright fair peace, and make us wade even in our kindred's blood. Therefore we banish you our territories, you, cousin Hereford, upon pain of life, till twice 5 summers have enriched our fields, may not regret our fair dominions, but tread the stranger paths of banishment.
Your will be done. This must not comfort me. That sun that warms you here shall shine on me, and those his golden beams to you here lent shall point on me and gild my banishment.
Norfolk! For thee remains a heavier doom, which I with some unwillingness pronounce. The sly, slow hours shall not determinate the limit of thy dear exile. The hopeless word of never to return breathe I against thee upon pain of life.
A heavy sentence, my most sovereign liege, and all unlooked for from your highness's mouth. A deeper merit, not so deep a maimage to be cast forth in such common air, have I deserved to dry Mrs. hands. The language I had learned these 40 years, my native English, now I must forego. And now my tongue's use to me is no more than an unstringed viol or harp, or like a cunning instrument being cased up, or being open put into his hands that knows no touch to tune the harmony. You have enjailed my tongue, doubly pleased with my teeth and lips, and dull, unfeeling, barren ignorance has made my jailer to attend on me. I am too old to fawn upon a nurse, too far in years to be a pupil now. What is thy sentence but speechless death that robs my tongue from breathing native breath?
It boots thee not to be compassionate. If the sentence plainly comes too late.
And thus I turn thee from my country's light, to dwell in the solemn shades of endless night.
Return again and take an oath with thee. Lay on our royal sword your banished hands. Swear by the duty that you owe to God our part, therein we banish with yourselves, to keep the oath that we administer. You never shall, so help you truth and God, embrace each other's love in banishment, nor never look upon each other's face, nor never write, recreate, nor reconcile this lowering tempest of your homebred hate, nor never by advised purpose meet to plot, contrive, or complot any ill against us, our state, our subjects, or our land.
I swear.
And I, to keep all this.
Norfolk, so far as to mine enemy, by this time had the king permitted us, one of our souls had wandered in the air, banished this frail sepulchre of our flesh, as now our flesh is banished from this land. Confess thy treasons, ere thou fly the realm, since thou hast far to go, bear not along the clogging burden of a guilty soul.
No, Bolingbroke. If ever I be a traitor, my name be blotted from the book of life, and from heaven banished as from hence. But what thou art, God thou and I do know, and all too soon I fear the king shall rue. Farewell, my liege. Now no way can I stray. Step back to England. All the world is my way.
Uncle! Even in the glasses of thy eyes I see thy grieved heart. Thy sad aspect hath from his banished years plucked 4 away. 6 frozen winters spent, return with welcome home from banishment.
How long a time lies in one little word. 4 lagging winters and 4 wanton springs end in a word. Such is the breath of kings.
I thank my liege that in regard of me he shortens 4 years of my son's exile. But little vantage shall I reap thereby, for ere the 6 years that he hath to spend can change their wounds and bring their time about. My oil-dried lamp and time be wasted, light shall be extinct with age and endless night. My inch of taper will be burnt and done, and blindfold death not let me see my son.
Why, uncle, thou hast many years to live.
But not a minute, king, that thou canst give. Shorten my days thou canst with sullen sorrow, and pluck nights from me, but not lend a morrow. Thou canst help time to furrow me with age, but stop no wrinkle in his pilgrimage. Thy word is current with him for my death. But dead, thy kingdom cannot buy my breath.
Thy son is banished upon good advice, whereto thy tongue a party verdict gave. Why, at our justice seems thou now to lower.
Things sweet to taste prove to digestion sour. You urged me as a judge, but I had rather you would have bid me argue like a father. Oh, had it been a stranger, not my child, to smooth his fault, I should have been more mild. Partial slander sought I to avoid, and in the sentence my own life destroyed. Alas, I looked when some of you should say I was too strict to make mine own away, but you gave leave to my unwilling tongue against my will to do myself this wrong.
Cousin, farewell, and uncle bid him so. 6 years we banish him, and he shall go.
Cousin, farewell. What presence must not know from where you do remain, let paper show.
My lord, no leave take I, for I will ride as far as land will let me by your side.
To what end dost thou hoard thy words, that thou returnst no greeting to thy friends?
I have too few to take my leave of you when the tongue's office should be prodigal to breathe the abundant dolour of heart.
Thy grief is but the absence for a time.
Joy absent, grief is present for that time.
What is 6 winters? They are quickly gone.
To men enjoy, but grief makes 1 hour 10.
Call it a travel that thou takes for pleasure.
My heart will sigh when I miscall it so, which finds it an enforced pilgrimage.
Sullen passage of thy weary steps esteem as foil wherein thou ought to set the precious jewel of thy home return.
Nay, rather, every tedious stride I make will but remember me what a deal of world I wander from the jewels that I love. Must I not serve a long apprenticehood to foreign passages, and in the end, having my freedom, boast of nothing else but that I was a journeyman to grief?
All places that the eye of heaven visits are to a wise man ports and happy havens. Teach your necessity to reason thus. There is no virtue like necessity. Think not the king did banish you, but thou the king. Woe doth the heavier sit where it perceives it is but faintly born. Go, say I sent thee forth to purchase honor, and not the king exiled thee. Or suppose a devouring pestilence hangs in our air, and thou art flying to a fresher clime. Look, what thy soul holds dear. Imagine it to lie that way thou goest, not whence thou comest. Suppose the singing birds, musicians, the grass whereon thou treadst, the presents strewed, the flowers, fair ladies, and thy steps, no more than a delightful measure or a dance. For gnarling sorrow hath less power to bite the man that mocks at it, it sets it light.
Oh, who can hold a fire in his hand by thinking on the frosty Caucasus, or cloy the hungry edge of appetite by bare imagination of a feast, or wallow naked in December's snow by thinking on fantastic summer's heat? Oh no. The apprehension of the good gives but the greater feeling into the worst. Fell sorrow's tooth doth never rankle more than when he bites, but lanceth not the sore.
Come, come, my son, I'll bring thee on thy way. Had I thy youth and cause, I would not stay.
And England's ground. Farewell. Sweet soil, adieu. My mother and my nurse that bears me yet. Where'er I wander, boast of this I can. Though banished, yet a true-born Englishman.
did observe. Cousin O'Merle, how far brought you High Hereford on his way?
I brought High Hereford, if you call him so, but to the next highway, and there I left him.
And say, what store of parting tears were shed?
Faith, none for me, except the northeast wind, which then blew bitterly against our faces, waked the sleeping room, and so by chance did grace our hollow parting with a tear.
What did our cousin say when you parted him?
Farewell. And that my heart disdained it, that my tongue should so profane the word that taught me craft to counterfeit oppression of such grief, that words seemed buried in my sorrow's grave. Mary, would the word farewell have lengthened hours and added years to his short banishment, he should have had a volume of farewells. But since it would not, he had none of me.
He is our cousin. Cousin? But 'tis doubt when time shall call him home from banishment whether our kinsmen come to see his friend. Ourselves and Bushy, Baggett here and Green did observe his courtship to the common people. How he did seem to dive into their hearts with humble and familiar courtesy. What reverence he did throw away on slaves, wooing poor craftsmen with the crafter's smiles and patient underbearing of his fortune, as if our England were in reversion his. And he our subjects' next degree in hope.
Well, he is gone, and with him go these thoughts. Now, for the rebels which stand out in Ireland, expedient manage must be made, my liege, ere further leisure yield them further means for their advantage, and your highness law.
We will ourselves in person to this war, and for our coffers with too great accord and liberal largesse are grown somewhat light, we are enforced to farm our royal realm, the revenues whereof shall furnish us for our affairs at hand. If that come short, our substitutes at home shall have blank charters, whereto when they shall know what men are rich, they shall subscribe them for large sums of gold, and send them after to supply our wants, for we will for Ireland presently. Bushy! What you?
Old John of Gaunt is grievous sick, my lord, suddenly taken, and hath sent post-haste to entreat your majesty to visit him.
Where lies he?
At Ely House.
Now put it God in the physician's mind to take him to his grave immediately! The lining of his coffers shall make coats to deck our soldiers for these Irish wars. Come, gentlemen, let's all go visit him. Pray God we may make haste, and come too late.
Amen.
Will the king come that I may bring my last and wholesome counsel to his unscathed youth?
Vex not yourself, nor strive not with your breath, for all in vain comes counsel to his ear.
Oh, but they say the tongues of dying men enforce attention like to deep harmony. Where words are scarce, they are seldom spent in vain, for they speak truth that speak their words in pain. He that hath no more to say is listened for than they whom youth and ease have taught to gloze. More are men's ends marked than their lives before. The setting sun, music at the close, as the last taste of sweets is sweetest last, writ in remembrance of things long past. Though Richard, my life's counsel, would not hear, my death's sad tale may yet undeaf his ear.
No, it is stopped with other flattering sounds, as praises of whose taste the wise are fond, lascivious meters to whose venom sound the open ear of youth doth always listen, report of fashions in proud Italy, whose manner still our tardy apish nation limps after in base imitation. Where doth the world thrust forth a vanity, so it be new there's no respect how vile, that is not quickly buzzed into his ears. Then all too late comes counsel to be heard, where will doth mutiny with wit's regard. Direct not him whose way himself will choose, 'tis breath thou lackst, and that breath wilt thou lose.
Methinks I am a prophet, new inspired and thus expiring to foretell of him. 'Tis rash, fierce blaze of riot cannot last, for violent fires soon burn out themselves. Small showers last long, but sudden storms are short. He tires betimes that spurs too fast betimes, with eager feeding food doth choke the feeder. Light vanity, insatiate cormorant, consuming means soon preys upon itself, this sceptered isle, this throne of majesty, this earth of jewels, this seat of Mars, this fortress built by nature for herself against infection and the hand of war, this happy breed of man, this little world, this precious stone set in the silver sea, this blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England, this nurse, this teeming womb of royal kings, feared by their breed, famous by their birth, renowned for their deeds, as far from home for Christian service and true chivalry, this land of such dear souls, this dear, dear land. Dear for her reputation through the world is now leased out. I die pronouncing it like to a tenement or a pelting farm. England, bound in with the victorious sea, whose rocky shore beats back the envious siege of wandering Neptune, is now bounded with shame, with hinky blood and rotten parchment bonds. That England that was wont to conquer others hath made a shameful conquest of itself. Oh, could the scandal vanish with my life, how happy then were my ensuing death.
The king is come. Deal mildly with his youth, for young hot colts being raged do rage the more.
Affairs of noble Uncle Lancaster.
What comfort, man? How is't with aged Gaunt?
Oh, how that name befits my composition. Old, gaunt, and deep, and gaunt with being old. Within me hath grief kept a tedious fast, and who abstains from meat that is not gaunt? For sleeping England, long time have I watched. Watching breeds leanness. Leanness is all gaunt. That pleasure that some fathers feed upon, I mean my children's books, is my strict fast. And therein fasting hast thou made me gaunt. Gaunt am I for the grave, gaunt as a grave, whose hollow womb inherits not but bones.
Content men play so nicely with their name.
No, misery makes sport to mock itself. Since thou dost seek to kill my name in me, I mock my name, great king, to flatter thee.
Should dying men flatter with those that live?
No, living men I flatter those that die.
Thou now a dying, sayest thou flatterest me?
No, thou diest, though I the sicker be.
I am in health. I breathe and see thee ill.
Now he that made me knows I see thee ill. Ill in myself to see, and in thee seeing ill. Thy deathbed is no lesser than thy land, wherein thou liest in reputation sick. And thou, too careless, patient as thou art, commits thy anointed body to the cure of those physicians that first wounded thee. 1,000 flatterers sit within thy crown, whose compass is no bigger than thy head, and yet encaged in so small a verge, the waste is no whit lesser than thy land. Oh, had thy grandsire with a prophet's eye foreseen how his son's son should destroy his sons, from forth your reach he would have laid thy shame, deposing thee before thou wert possessed, which art possessed now to depose thyself. Why, cousin, wert thou regent of the world, it were a shame to let this land by lease. But for thy world, enjoying but this land, is it not more than shame to shame it so? Landlord of England art thou now, not king, thy state of law.
Lunatic, lean-witted fool! presuming on an adjunct privilege, dares with thy drunken admonition make pale our cheek, chasing with fury the royal blood from his native residence. Now by my seats, right royal majesty, wert thou not brother to great Edward's son, this tongue that runs so roundly in thy head should run thy head from thy unreverent shoulders.
Oh, spare me not, my brother Edward's son, for that I was his father, Edward's son. That blood already, like the pelican, hast thou tapped out and drunkenly caroused. My brother Gloucester, plain, well-meaning soul, whom fair befall in heaven most happy souls, may be precedent and witness good that thou respects not spilling Edward's blood. Join with the present sickness that I have, and thy unkindness be like crooked age to crop at once with too long witted flower. Live in thy shame, but die not thy shame with thee. These words hereafter thy tormentors be. Convey me to my bed, and led to my grave. Love they to live, that love and honor have.
Then let them die that age and sullens have, for both hast thou, and both become the grave.
I do beseech your majesty, impute his words to wayward sickliness and age in him. He loves you, on my life, and holds you dear as Harry Duke of Hereford were he here.
Right. You say true. As Hereford's love, so his, as mine, so theirs, and all be as it is.
My liege, old Gaunt, commending to your majesty.
What says he?
Nay, nothing, all is said. His tongue is now a stringless instrument. Words, life, and all old Lancaster hath spent.
Be York the next, it must be Bankrupt's hour. Though death be poor, it ends a mortal woe.
The ripest fruit first falls, and so doth he. Our time is spent. His pilgrimage must be. So much for that. Now for our Irish wars. We must supplant these rough, wrong-headed kerns that live like men where no better else was only they had privilege to live. And for these great affairs to ask some charge towards our assistance, we do seize to us the plate, coin, revenues, and movables whereof our Uncle Gaunt did stand possessed.
How long must I be patient? Ah, how long shall duty make me suffer wrong? Nor Gloucester's death, nor Hereford's banishment, nor Gaunt's rebukes, nor England's private wrongs, nor the prevention of poor Bolingbroke about his marriage, nor mine own disgrace, ever made me sour my patient cheek or bend one wrinkle in my sovereign's face. I am the last of noble Edward's sons, of whom thy father, Prince of Wales, was first. In war was never lion raged more fierce, in peace was never gentle lamb more mild, than was that young and princely gentleman. His face thou hast, for even so looked he accomplished with the number of thy hours. But when he did frown, it was against the French, and not against his friends. His noble hand did win what it did spend, and spent not that which his triumphant father's hand had won. His hand was guilty of no kin with blood, but bloody with the enemy of kin. Oh, Richard, York is too far gone with grief, or never would he make compare between.
Why, Uncle? What's the matter?
Oh, my liege, pardon me. If you please. If not, I please not to be pardoned, am content with all. Seek you to seize and gripe into your hands the royalties and rights of banished Hereford? Is not Gaunt dead, and doth not Hereford live? Was not Gaunt just, and is not Harry true? Does not the one deserve to have an heir? Is not that heir in well-deserving son? Take Hereford's rights away, and take from time his charges and his customary rights. Let not tomorrow then ensue today. Be not thyself, for how art thou a king but by fair sequence and succession? Now, afore God forbid I say true, if you do wrongfully seize Hereford's rights, call in his letters patent which he hath by his Attorney General to sue his livery, and deny his offered homage, you pluck 1,000 dangers on your head. You lose 1,000 well-disposed hearts, and frick might and the patience to those thoughts which honor and allegiance cannot think.
Think what you will. We seize into our hands his plate, his goods, his money, and his lands.
I'll not be by the while. My liege, farewell. What will ensue hereof? There's none can tell. But by bad courses it may be understood that their events can never fall out good.
Go, Bushy, to the Earl of Wiltshire, straight. We didn't repair to us to Ely House to see this business.
Born nephew for Ireland, and 'tis time, I trow. And we create, in absence of ourself, our uncle York, Lord Governor of England, for he is just and always loved us well. Come on, are we? Tomorrow must we part. Be merry, for our time of stay is short.
Well, lords, the Duke of Lancaster is dead.
And living, for now his son is due.
You're barely in title, not in revenues.
Richly in both, if justice had her right.
My heart is great, but it must break in silence ere it be disburdened with a liberal tongue.
Nay, speak thy mind, and ne'er let him speak more than speaks thy words again to do thee harm.
Tens that thou would speak to the Duke of Hereford, if it be so out with a boldly man. Quick as mine ear to hear good towards him.
No good at all that I can do for him, unless you call it good to pity him, bereft and gelded of his patrimony.
Now, for God, 'tis shame such wrongs are born in him, a royal prince, and many more of noble blood in this declining land. The king is not himself, but basely led by flatterers, and what they will inform, million hate. Against any of us all, that will the king severely prosecute against us, our lives, our children, and our heirs.
Commons hath he pilled with grievous taxes, and quite lost their hearts. The nobles hath he fined for ancient quarrels, and quite lost their hearts.
And daily new exactions are devised as blanks, benevolences, and I wot not what. What the God's name doth become of this?
Wars hath not wasted it, for warred he hath not, but basely yielded upon compromise that which his noble ancestors achieved with blows. More hath he spent in peacetime than they in wars.
The Earl of Wiltshire hath the realm in farm.
The king's grown bankrupt like a broken man.
Reproach and dissolution hangeth over him.
He has not the money for these Irish wars, his burdenous taxations notwithstanding, but by the robbing of the banished duke.
His noble kinsman, most degenerate king. But lords, we hear this fearful tempest sing, yet seek no shelter to avoid the storm. We see the wind sit sore upon our sails, yet strike not, but securely perish.
We see the very wrack that we must suffer, and unavoided is the danger now, for suffering so the causes of our wrack.
Not so. Even through the hollow eyes of death, I spy life peering. But I dare not say how near the tidings of our comfort is.
Hey, let us share thy thoughts, as thou dost ours.
Be confident to speak, Northumberland. We three are but thyself, and speaking so thy words are but as thoughts, therefore be bold.
Then thus,
I have from Laporte Blanc, a bay in Brittany, received intelligence that Harry, the Duke of Hereford, Reynold Lord Cobham, the son and heir of the Earl of Arundel, that late broke from the Duke of Exeter, his brother Archbishop late of Canterbury, Sir Thomas Erpingham, Sir John Ramsden, Sir John Norbury, and Francis Coint. All these well furnished by the Duke of Brittany with 8 tall ships, 3,000 men of war, are making hither with all due expedience, and shortly mean to touch our northern shore. Perhaps they had ere this, but that they stay the first departing of the king for Ireland. If then we shall shake off our slavish yoke, imp out our drooping country's broken wing, redeem from broken palm the blemished crown, wipe off the dust that hides our scepter's guilt, and make high majesty look like itself, then away with me in post to Ravenspur. But if you faint in fearing to do
do so. Stay and be secret, and I myself will go. To horse. To horse! Urge down to them that fear.
Hold out my horse, and I will first be there.
Madam, your majesty is too much sad. You promised when you parted with the king to lay aside life-harming heaviness and entertain a cheerful disposition.
To please the king I did. To please myself I cannot do it. Yet I know no cause why I should welcome such a guest as grief, save bidding farewell to so sweet a guest as my sweet Richard. Yet again, methinks, some unborn sorrow ripe in fortune's womb is coming towards me, and my inward soul, nothing trembles. At something it grieves more than with parting from my lord the king.
Each substance of a grief hath 20 shadows, which shows like grief itself, but is not so. For sorrow's eye, glazed with blinding tears, divides one thing entire to many objects, like perspectives, which rightly gazed upon, show nothing but confusion. I'd awry distinguished form. So your sweet majesty, looking awry upon your lord's departure, find shapes of grief, more than himself to wail, which, looked on as it is naught but shadows of what it is not. Then, thrice gracious queen, more than your lord's departure, weep not. More's not seen, or if it be, 'tis with false sorrow's eye, which for things true weeps things imaginary.
It may be so, but yet my inward soul persuades me it is otherwise. However it be, I cannot but be sad. So heavy sad, as though on thinking on no thought I think, makes me with heavy nothing faint and shrink.
'Tis nothing but conceit, my gracious lady.
'Tis nothing less. Conceit is still derived from some forefathers. Grief? Mine is not so. For nothing hath begot my something grief, or something hath the nothing that I grieve. 'Tis in reversion that I do possess. But what it is that is not yet known, what I cannot name, 'tis nameless woe, I wot.
God save your majesty, and well met, gentlemen. I hope the king has not yet shipped for Ireland.
Why hopest thou so? 'Tis better hope he is, for his designs crave haste, his haste good hope. And wherefore dost thou hope he is not shipped?
That he, our hope, might have retired his power and driven into despair an enemy's hope who strongly has set footing in this land. The banished Bolingbroke repeals himself, and with uplifted arms is safe arrived at Ravenspur.
Oh God in heaven forbid.
Oh, madame, 'tis true. And what is worse, the Lord Northumberland, his son, young Henry Percy, the lords of Ross, Beaumont, and Willoughby, with all their powerful friends, have fled to him.
Well, why have you not proclaimed Northumberland and all the rest revolted faction traitors?
We have. Whereupon the Earl of Worcester hath broken his staff, retired his stewardship, and all the household servants fled with him to Bolingbroke.
Sir Green, thou art the midwife to my woe, and Bolingbroke my sorrow's dismal heir. Now hath my soul brought forth her prodigy, and I, a gasping new-delivered mother, hath woe to woe, sorrow to sorrow, joy.
Despair not, madam.
Who shall hinder me? I will despair, and be at enmity with cozening hope. He is a flatterer, a parasite, a keeper back of death, who gently would dissolve the bands of life, which false hope lingers in extremity.
Here comes the Duke of York.
What careful business are his looks? Uncle, for God's sake, speak comfortable words.
Should I do so, I should belie my thoughts. Trumpet is in heaven, and we are on the earth where nothing lives but crosses, cares, and griefs. Your husband, he is gone to save far off, while others come to make him lose at home. Here am I, left to undertrop his land, and weak with age, cannot support myself. Now comes the sick hour that his surfeit made. Now shall he try his friends who flattered him.
My lord, your son was gone before I came.
He has. Why, sir, go all which way it will. The nobles they are fled, the commons they are called, and will I fear revolt on Hereford's side. Go, sirrah, get thee to Plassey, to my sister Gloucester. Bid her send me presently £1,000. Oh, take my ring.
My lord, I forgot to tell your lordship today as I came by. I called it there, but it shall grieve you to report the rest.
What is't, knave?
An hour before I came, the Duchess died.
God for his mercy. What a tide of woes comes rushing on his woeful land at once. I know not what to do. And would to God, so I in truth had not provoked him to it, the king had cut off my head with my brothers.
Lord.
What, have there no post dispatch for Ireland? What shall we do for money for these wars? Come, sister. Cousin, I would say, pray, pardon me. Go, fellow, get you home, provide some carts, and bring away the armor that is there. Gentlemen, will you go muster men? If I know how or which way to order these affairs, thus disorderly thrust into my hand, never believe me. Both are my kinsmen. The one my sovereign, whom both my oath and duty do bid defend. The other again is my kinsman, whom the king hath wronged, which conscience and my kindred bids to right. Well, somewhat we must do. Come, cousin, I'll dispose of you. Gentlemen, go muster your men. Meet me presently at Bartley. I should to Plassey too, but time will not allow it. All is uneven and everything is left at 6 and 7.
The winds it's fair for news to go for Ireland, but none returns. For us to levy power proportionable to the enemy is all impossible.
Besides, our nearness to the king in love is near the hate of those who love not the king.
And that's the wavering commons, for their love lies in their purses. And whoso empties them by so much fills their hearts with deadly hate.
Wherein the king stands generally condemned.
If judgment lie in them, then so do we, because we ever have been near the king.
Well, I will for refuge straight to Bristol Castle. The Earl of Wiltshire is already there.
Thither will I with you. For little office will the hateful commons perform for us, except like curs to tear us all to pieces. Will you go along with us?
No, I shall to Ireland to his majesty. Farewell. If heart's presages be not vain, we three here part that ne'er shall meet again.
That's as York thrives to beat back Bolingbroke.
Alas, poor Duke, the task he undertakes is numbering sands and drinking oceans dry, where one on his side fights, thousands will fly.
Farewell, all. For once, for all, and ever.
Well, we may meet again.
I fear me never.
My lord's Bartley now.
Believe me, noble lord, I am a stranger here in Gloucestershire. These high wild hills and rough uneven ways draws out our miles and makes them wearisome. But I bethink me what a weary way from Ravenspur to Cotswold will be found in Ross and Willoughby wanting your company. Which I protest had very much beguiled the tediousness and process of my journey. But theirs is sweetened with hope to have the present benefit which I possess, and hope to joy is little less enjoy than hope and joy. By this, the weary lords shall make their way seem short, as mine hath done by sight of what I have, your noble company.
Much less values my company than your good words. Who comes here?
It is my son, young Harry Percy, sent from my brother Worcester whensoever. Harry, how fares your uncle?
I had thought, my lord, to have learned his help of you.
Why, is he not with the queen?
No, my good lord. He hath forsook the court, broken his staff of office, and dispersed the household of the king.
What was his reason he was not so resolved when last we spake together?
Because your lordship was proclaimed a traitor. But he, my lord, has gone to Ravenspur to offer service to the Duke of Hereford, and sent me over by Berkeley to discover what power the Duke of York had levied there, then with directions to repair to Ravenspur.
Have you forgotten the Duke of Hereford?
No, my good lord, for that is not forgot which ne'er I did remember. To my knowledge, I never in my life did look upon him.
Then learn to know him now. This is the Duke.
My gracious lord, I tender you in my service, such as it is being tender, raw, and young, which elder day shall ripen and confirm to more approved service and discern.
I thank thee, gentle Percy, and be sure I count myself in nothing else so happy as in a soul remembering my good friends. And as my fortune ripens with thy love, it shall be still thy true love's recompense. My heart this covenant makes, my hand thus seals it.
How far is it to Berkeley, and what stir keeps good old York there with his men of war?
The castle lies by yon tuft of trees, manned with 300 men, as I have heard. And in it are the lords York, Berkeley, and Surrey, none else of name and noble estimate.
Northumberland! Here come the lords of Ross and Willoughby, bloody with spur and fiery red with haste!
Welcome, my lords! I want your love pursues a banished traitor! All my treasury is yet but unfelt thanks, which more enriched shall be your love and labor's recompense.
Your presence makes us rich, most noble lord.
And for us amounts of labor to attain it. Evermore thanks. The exchequer of the poor, which till my infant fortune comes to year, stands for my bounty. Who comes here?
It is Sir Piers Exton, I guess. The Lord of Hereford, my message is to you.
My lord, my answer is to Lancaster. And I have come to seek that name in England, and I must find a title in your tongue before I make reply to what you say.
Mistake me not, my lord. 'Tis not my meaning to race one title of your honour out. To you, my lord, I come, what lord you will, from the most gracious regent of the land, the Duke of York, to know what pricks you on, to take advantage of the absent time, and fright our native peace with self-born arms.
I shall not need transport my words by you. Here comes his grace in person, my noble uncle. Show me thy humble heart, and not thy knee, whose duty is deceivable and false. My gracious uncle. Tut, tut! Grace me no grace, nor uncle me no uncle. I am no traitor's uncle, and that word grace in an ungracious mouth is but profane. Why have those banished and forbidden legs dared once to touch a dust of England's ground? But then more why? Why have they dared march so many miles upon her peaceful bosom, frighting her pale-faced villages with war and ostentation of despised arms? Comes thou because the anointed king is hence? My foolish boy, the king is left behind, and in my loyal bosom lies his power. Were I but now lord of such haughty youth, as when brave God, thy father, and myself rescued the Black Prince, that Mars of men, from forth the ranks of many thousand French, oh, then how quickly would this arm of mine chastise thee and minister correction to thy fault. My gracious uncle, let me know my fault. On what condition stands it, and wherein? Even in condition of the worst degree, in gross rebellion and detested treason. Thou art a banished man, and here art come before the expiration of thy time in braving arms against thy sovereign. As I was banished Hereford, but as I come for Lancaster. And noble uncle, I beseech your grace, look on my wrongs with an indifferent eye. You are my father, for methinks in you I see old Gaunt alive. Oh, then, my father, will you permit that I shall stand condemned, a wandering vagabond, my rights and loyalties plucked from my arms perforce and given away to upstart huntress? Wherefore was I born? If then my cousin king be king in England, it must be granted I am Duke of Lancaster. You have a son, a Merle, my noble cousin. Had you first died and he been thus brought down, he should have found his uncle Gaunt a father to rouse his wrongs and chase them to the bay. I am denied to sue my livery here, and yet my letters patents give me leave. My father's goods are all distrained and sold, and these and all are all amiss employed. What would you have me do? I am subject, and I challenge law. Attorneys are denied me, and therefore personally I lay my claim to my inheritance of free descent.
The noble duke hath too much been abused.
It stands your grace upon to do him right.
Base men by his endowments are made great.
My lords of England, let me tell you this. I had feeling of my cousin's wrongs, and laboured all I could to do him right. But in this kind of coming, braving arms, be his own carver, cut out his way to find out right with wrong. may not be. And you that do abet him in this kind cherish rebellion, and are rebels all.
The noble Duke had sworn his coming is but for his own. And for the right of that, we have all strongly sworn to give him aid. Let no man see joy that breaks that oath.
Well, I see the issue of these arms. I cannot mend it, I must confess, because my power is weak and all ill left. But if I could, by him that gave me life, I would attach you all and make you stoop unto the sovereign mercy of the king. But since I cannot, be it known to you, I do remain as neuter. So fare you well. Unless you please to enter in the castle, and there repose you for this night. An offer, uncle, that we will accept. But we must win your grace to go with us to Bristol Castle, which they say is held by Bushy Bagot and their accomplices, their caterpillars of the Commonwealth, which I have sworn to weed and pluck away. It may be I will go with you, but as yet I'll pause, for I am loath to break our country's laws. Nor friend nor foe, to me welcome you are. Things past redress are now with me past care.
My lord of Surrey, we have stayed 10 days and hardly kept our countrymen together, and yet we hear no tidings from the king. Therefore we will disperse ourselves. Farewell.
Nay, stay yet another day, trusty Welshman. The king reposeth all thy confidence in thee.
'Tis thought the king is dead. We will not stay. The bay trees in our country all are withered, and meteors fright the fixed stars of heaven. The pale-faced moon looks bloody on the earth. Lean-looked prophets whisper fearful change. Rich men look sad, and ruffians dance and leap, the one in fear to lose what they enjoy, the other to enjoy by rage and war. These signs forerun the death or fall of kings. Farewell. Our countrymen are gone and fled, as well assured Richard their king is dead.
Stay another day.
Oh, Richard, with the eyes of a heavy mind, I see thy glory like a shooting star fall to the base earth from the firmament. The sun sets weeping in the lowly west, witnessing storms to come, woe and unrest. All thy friends that fled to wait upon thy foes, and crossly to thy good all thy fortune goes.
Bring forth these men. Bushy and Green, I will not vex your souls, since presently your souls must part your bodies. With too much urging your pernicious lives, which were no charity. Yet, to wash your blood from off my hands, here in the view of men, I will unfold some causes of your deaths. You have misled a prince, a royal king, a happy gentleman in blood and lineaments, by you unhappied and disfigured clean. You have, in manner with your sinful hours, made a divorce betwixt his queen and him, broke the possession of a royal bed, and stained the beauty of a fair queen's cheeks with tears drawn from her eyes by your foul wrongs. Myself, a prince, by fortune of my birth, near to the king in blood, and near in love to you did make him misinterpret me, have stooped my neck under your injuries, and sighed my English breath in foreign clouds, eating the bitter bread of banishment, whilst you have fed upon my seigneuries, disparked my parks, and felled my forest woods, from my own windows torn my household coat, raced out my impress, leaving me no sign save men's opinions and my living blood, to show the world I am a gentleman. This and much more than twice all this See them delivered over to execution and the hand of death.
More welcome is the stroke of death to me than Bolingbroke to England. Lord, farewell.
My comfort is that heaven will take our souls and plague injustice with the pains of hell.
My Lord Northumberland, see them dispatched. Uncle, you say the Queen is at your house. For God's sake, fairly let her be entreated. Tell her I send her my kind commends. Take special care my greetings be delivered.
A gentleman of mine I have dispatched with letters of your love to her at large.
Thanks, gentle uncle.
Come, Lord.
Away.
Fight with Glendower and his compasses.
Wild work. And after holiday.
Yea, my lord. How looks your grace the air after your late tossing on the breaking seas?
Needs must I like it well. I weep for joy to stand upon my kingdom once again. Dear earth, I do salute thee with my hand, though rebels wound thee with their horses' hooves. As a long-parted mother plays fondly with her tears and smiles in meeting, so weeping, smiling, greet I thee, my earth, and do thee favors with my royal hands. Mock not my senseless conjuration, Lord. This earth shall have a feeling, and these stones prove armed soldiers ere her native king shall falter under foul rebellion's arms.
Fear not, my lord. That power that made you king hath power to keep you king in spite of all. The means that heaven's yield must be embraced and not neglected, else heaven would, and we will not. Heaven's offer we refuse, the proffered means of succor and redress.
She means, my lord, that we are too remiss, whilst Bolingbroke, through our security, grows strong and great both in substance and in power.
Discomfortable cousin, knowest thou that not all the water in the rough, rude sea can wash the balm off from an anointed king? The breath of worldly men cannot oppose the deputy elected by the Lord. For every man that Bolingbroke has pressed with its shrewd steel against our golden crown, God for his Richard hath in heavenly pay a glorious angel. That if angels fight, weak men must fall, for heaven still guards the right. But, my lord, how far off lies your power? No nearer nor farther, my gracious lord, than this weak arm. Discomfort guides my tongue and bids me speak of nothing but despair. One day too late, I fear me, noble lord, has counted all thy happy days on earth. Oh, call back yesterday, bid time return, and thou shalt have 12,000 fighting men. Today, unhappy day too late, overthrows thy joys, thy friends, thy fortune and state. For all the Welshmen, hearing that thou wert dead, are gone to Bolingbroke, dispersed and fled.
Comfort, my liege, why looks your grace so pale?
But now the blood of 20,000 men did triumph in my face, and they are fled. To so much blood come thither again, have I not reason to look pale and dead? All souls that will be safe fly from my side, for time has set a blot against my crown.
Comfort, my liege. Remember who you are.
I had forgot myself. Am I not king? Are we not high? High be our thoughts. I know our Uncle York hath power enough to serve our service. But who comes here?
More health and happiness betide, my liege, than can my care-tuned tongue deliver him.
Mine ears open and my heart prepare. The worst is worldly loss thou canst unfold. Say, is my kingdom lost? What was my care? And what loss is it to be rid of care? Strive Bolingbroke to be as great as we, greater he shall not be. If he serve heaven, we'll serve him too and be his fellow, so we'll hold our subjects that we cannot bend.
They break their faith to God as well as us. Cry woe, destruction, ruin, and decay. The worst is death, and death shall have his day.
Glad am I that your highness is so armed to bear the tidings of calamity. Like an unseasonable stormy day which makes the silver rivers drown their shores, as if the world were all dissolved to tears. So high above his limit swells the rage of Bolingbroke, covering your fearful land with hard, bright steel and hearts harder than steel. Whitebeards have armed their thin and hairless scalps against thy majesty. Thy very beadsmen learn to bend their bows of double fatal yew against thy state. Yea, distaff women manage rusty bills against thy seat. Both young and old rebel, and all goes worse than I have power to tell.
Too well! Too well thou tell'st a tale so ill. Where is the Earl of Wiltshire? What is become of Bussy? Where is Green, that they have let the dangerous enemy venture our confines with such peaceful steps? If we prevail, their heads shall pay for it. I warrant they've made a peace with Bolingbroke.
Peace have they made with him indeed,
Villains,
my lord.
I understand without redemption. Dogs, easily won to fawn on any man. Snakes, in my heart blood warm that sting at my heart. 3 Judases, each one thrice worse than Judas. But they make peace. Terrible hell make war on their spotted souls for this offense.
Sweet love, I see, changing his property, turns to the sourest and most deadly hate. Again uncurse their souls, their peace is made with heads and not with hands. Those whom you curse have felt the worst of death's destroying wound and lie full low, graved in the hollow ground.
Was she Green and the Earl of Wiltshire dead?
Aye, all of them at Bristol lost their heads.
Where is the Duke my father with his power?
No matter whether. Of comfort no man speak. Let's talk of graves, of worms and epitaphs. Make dust our paper, and with rainy eyes write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Let's choose executors and talk of wills! And yet not so. For what can we bequeath, save our deposed bodies to the ground? Our lands, our lives, and all are Bolingbroke's, and nothing can we call our own save that small model of the barren earth which serves as paste and cover to our bones. For God's sake, let us sit upon the ground and tell sad stories of the death of kings. Now some have been deposed, some slain in war. Some haunted by the ghosts they did depose, some poisoned by thy wives, some sleeping killed, all murdered. For within the hollow crown that rounds the mortal temples of a king keeps death his court. And there the antic sits, scoffing his state and grinning at his pomp, allowing him a breath, a little scene to monarchize, be feared and killed with looks, infusing him with self and vain conceit. As if this flesh that walks about our lives were brass impregnable. And human thus comes at the last, and with a little pin bores through his castle wall, and farewell, king! Cover your heads, and mark not flesh and blood with solemn reverence. Throw away tradition, respect, form, ceremonious duty, for you have but mistook me all this while. I live with bread, like you. Feel one. Taste grief. Need friends. Subjected thus, how can you say to me, I am a king?
My lord, wise men there sit and wail their woes, but presently prevent the ways to wail. To fear the foe, since fear oppresseth strength, gives in your weakness strength unto your foe, and so your follies fight against yourself. Fear and be slain. No worse can come to fight and die is death, destroying death. where fearing dying pays that servile breath.
My father hath a power. Inquire of him, and learn to make a body of a limb.
Thou chidest me well. Proud Bolingbroke! I come to change blows with thee for our day of doom. This ague fit of fear is overblown. An easy task it is to win our own. Say, Scroop! Where lies our uncle with his power? Speak sweetly, man. Although thy looks be sour.
I play the torturer by small and small to lengthen out the worst that must be spoken. Your uncle York is joined with Bolingbroke, and all your northern castles yielded up, and all your southern gentlemen in arms upon his part.
Thou hast said enough! Beshrew thee, cousin, which didst lead me forth of that sweet way I was unto despair. What say you now? What comfort have we now? By heaven, I'll hate him everlastingly that bids me be of comfort any more. That power I have, discharge, and let them go to ear the land that have some hope to grow, for I have none. Let no man speak again to alter this, for counsel is but vain. He does me double wrong and wounds me with the flatteries of his tongue. Discharge my powers. Let them hence away. And Richard's night to Bolingbroke's fair day.
So that by this intelligence we learn who Welshman are dispersed that Surrey is not to be the king who lately landed with some few private friends upon this coast.
The news is very, very good, my lord. Richard, not far from hence, had hid his head.
It would beseem the Lord Northumberland to say King Richard. Lack the head of David, such a sacred king should hide his head.
Your grace mistakes, only to be brief, left out his title out.
Time had you been so brief with him, he would have been as brief with you to shorten you for taking so the head, your whole head's length.
Mistake not, uncle, further than you should.
Take not, good cousin, farther than you should, lest you mistake the heavens off of our heads.
I know it, uncle, and oppose not myself against their will. Come, sir. Welcome, Harry. Why will not this castle yield?
The castle royally is manned, my lord, against thy entrance.
Royally? Why? It contains no king.
Yes, my lord, it doth contain a king. King Richard lies within yon limits of lime and stone, and with him are the Lord Admiral, Surrey, Sir Stephen Scroop, besides a clergyman of holy reverence who I cannot learn.
Oh, belike it is the Bishop of Carlisle.
Noble lord. Go to the rude ribs of that ancient castle. Through brazen trumpet send the breath of Parl into his ruined ears, and thus deliver. Henry Bolingbroke, on both his knees, doth kiss King Richard's hand, and sends allegiance and true faith of heart to his most royal person. Hither come even at his feet to lay my arms in power, provided that my banishment repealed and lands restored again be freely granted. If not, I'll use the advantage of my power and lay the summer's dust with showers of blood rain from the wounds of slaughtered Englishmen. Go signify as much while here we march upon the grassy carpet of this command. Let's march without the noise of threatening drum, that from this castle's tottered battlements our fair appointments may be well perused. Methinks King Richard and myself should meet with no less terror than the elements of fire and water when their thundering shock at meeting tears the cloudy cheeks of heaven. Be he fire, I'll be the yielding water. The rage be his, whilst on the earth I rain my waters. On the earth, and not on him. March on, and mark King Richard how he looks. King Richard doth himself appear.
Yet looks he like a king. Hold his eye, like to be most mighty court and holy majesty. Black
joints forget to pay their awful duty to our presence. If we be not, show us the hand of God that hath dismissed us from our stewardship. For well we know, no hand of blood and bone can gripe the sacred handle of our scepter unless he do profane, steal, or usurp. Tell Bolingbroke, for yon thinks he stands, that every stride he makes upon my land is dangerous treason. He is come to open the purple testament of bleeding war. But ere this crown he look for live in peace, 10,000 bloody crowns of mother's sons shall ill become the flower of England's face. Change her complexion of maid-pale peace to scarlet indignation, and bedew her pastor's grass with faithful English blood.
The King of Heaven forbid our Lord the King should so with civil and uncivil arms be rushed upon. Thy thrice noble cousin Harry Bolingbroke doth humbly kiss thy hand. His coming hither hath no further scope than for his lineal royalties, and to beg enfranchisement immediate upon his knees, upon thy royal party granted once. His barbed steeds he will commend to stables, his glittering arms to rust, and his faithful heart to service of your majesty. This swears he, as he is a prince and just, and as I am a gentleman, I credit him.
Northumberland say thus: the king returns. His noble cousin is right welcome hither, and all the number of his fair demands shall be accomplished without contradiction. With all the gracious utterance thou hast, speak unto his gentle hearing kind commends. We do debase ourselves, do we not, cousin, to look so poorly and to speak so fair? Shall I go Northumberland back, set defiance to the traitor, and so die?
No, good my lord. Let's fight with gentle words, till time lend friends, and friends their helpful swords.
Oh God. Oh God. Dare this tongue of mine that laid the sentence of dread banishment on yon proud man should take it off again with words of sooth. Oh, that hour is great as is my grief, or lesser than my name. But that I could forget what I have been, or not remember what I must be now. Swellst thou, proud heart? I'll give thee scope to beat, Exposer, scope to beat both thee and me.
Northumberland comes back from Bolingbroke.
What must the king do now? Must he submit? The king shall do it. Must he be deposed? The king shall be contented. Must he lose the name of king or God's name? Let it go. I'll take my jewels for a set of beads, my figured gauntlets for a dish of wood, my scepter for a palmer's walking staff, my subjects for a pair of carved saints, and my large kingdom for a little grave. A little grave. An obscure grave. Or I'll be buried on the king's highway! Some way of common trade where subjects may hourly trample on their sovereign's head. For on my heart they tread now whilst I live, and buried once, why not upon my head? Would not this ill do well? And I see I talk but idly. And you laugh at me. My most mighty Prince Lord Northumberland, what says King Bolingbroke? Will his majesty give Richard leave to live till Richard die? You make a leg, and Bolingbroke says I.
My lord, in the base court he doth attend to speak with you. May it please you to come down.
Down, down I come, like glistering Phaethon, wanting the manage of unruly James. In the base court where king's probation come and traitors' calls and do them grace. In the base court, come down, down court, down king, for night owls shriek where mounting lark should sing.
What says his majesty?
Sorrow and grief apart makes me fondly like a frantic man, yet he is come.
Stand all apart and show fair duty to his majesty.
My noble lord.
Fair cousin, you do debase your princely need to make the base earth proud with kissing him. He rather had my heart might feel your love than my unpleased eyes see your courtesy. Up, cousin, up! Your heart is up, I know, thus high at least, although your knee be low.
My gracious lord, I come but for mine own.
Your own is yours, and I am yours and all.
So far be mine, my most redoubted lord, as my true service shall deserve your love.
Well, you deserve. They well deserve that know the strongest and surest way to get. Uncle, give me your hand. Nay, uncle, dry your eyes. Tears show their love, but want their remedies. Cousin! I am too young to be your father, though you are old enough to be my heir. What you will have, I'll give, and willing too. For must we do what force will have us do?
Sit on to London. Cousin, is it so?
Yea, my good lord.
Then I must not say no.
What sport shall we devise here in this garden to drive away the heavy thought of care?
Madam will play full.
'Twill make me think the world is full of rubs, and that my fortune runs against the bias.
Madam will dance.
My legs can keep no measure in delight, when my poor heart no measure keeps in grief. Therefore no dancing, girl, some other sport.
Madam will tell tales.
Of sorrow or of joy?
Of either, madam.
Of neither, girl. For if of joy being altogether wanting, it doth remember me the more of sorrow. Or if of grief being altogether had, it adds more sorrow to my want of joy. For what I want boots not to complain, and what I need needs not to be repeated.
Madam, I'll sing.
'Tis well that thou hadst cause, but thou shouldst please me better wouldst thou weep.
I could weep, madam, would it do you good?
And I could sing, would weeping do me good, and never borrow any tear of thee. But stay, here come the gardeners. They will talk of state for everyone doth so against the change. Woe is for London, woe.
Go, bind thou up yon dangling apricots, which like unruly children make their sire stoop at the pressure of their prodigal weight. Give some supportance to the bending twigs. Go thou and cut off the heads of too fast-growing sprays that look too lofty in our commonwealth. I will go root away the noisome weeds which without profit suck the soil's fertility from wholesome flowers.
Why should we come to a palety? Law and form a due proportion, showing us in a model or firm estate. When our seawall garden, the whole land is full of weeds. Her fairest flowers choked up. Her fruit trees all unpruned, her hedges roamed, her nuts disordered. Her wholesome herbs swarming with caterpillars.
Hold thy peace! He that hath suffered this disordered spring hath now himself met with the fall of leaf. The weeds which his broad spreading leaves did shelter, which seemed in eating him to hold him up, are plucked up, root and all, by Bolingbroke. I mean the Earl of Wiltshire, Bushy, Green.
What, are they dead?
They are. And Bolingbroke hath seized the wasteful king. Lo, what pity is it he had not so trimmed and dressed his land as we this garden.
What? Think you the king will be deposed?
Depressed he is already, and deposed his doubt he will be. Letters came last night to a dear friend of the good Dukes of York that tell black tidings.
Trusted doth in want of speaking. Thou old Adam's likeness, set to dress this garden, how dares thy harsh, rude tongue sound this unpleasing news? What Eve, what serpent hath suggested thee to make a second fall of cursed man? Why dost thou say King Richard is deposed? Darest thou little better thing than earth, divine his downfall? Say when, where, and how camest thou by this ill tidings?
Richard, he is in the hold of proud Bolingbroke. Their fortunes both are weighed. In your lord's scale is nothing but himself, and some few vanities that make him light. But in the battles of great Bolingbroke, besides himself, are all the English peers, and with that odds he weighs King Richard down. Post you to London, you will find it so. I speak no more than everyone doth know.
Nimble mischance, that art so light of foot, doth not thy embassage belong to me, and am I last that knows it? Oh, thou think'st to serve me last, that I may longest keep thy sorrow in my breast. Come, lady, go, to meet at London, London's king in woe. Was I born to this, that my sad look should grace the triumph of proud Bolingbroke? Gardener, for telling me these news of woe, pray God the plants thou grafts may never grow!
Poor queen, so that thy state might be no worse, I would my skill were subject to thy curse.
Call forth, Baggett.
Now, Baggett, freely speak thy mind what thou dost know of noble Gloucester's death, who rotted with the king and who performed the bloody office of his timeless end.
Then set before my face the Lord Armerle.
Cousin, stand forth and look upon that man.
My Lord Armerle, I know your daring tongue scorns to unsay what once it hath delivered. In that dead time when Gloucester's death was plotted, I heard you say, is not my arm of length that reacheth from our restful English court as far as Calais to mine uncle's head? Amongst much other talk, that very time I heard you say that you had rather refused the offer of 100,000 crowns than Bolingbroke's return to England, adding withal how blessed this land would be in this your cousin's death.
Princes and noble lords, what answer shall I make to this base man? Shall I so much dishonor my fair stars on equal terms to give him chastisement? Either I must, or have mine honor soiled with the attainder of his slanderous lips. There is my gage, the manual seal of death that marks thee out for hell. I say thou liest, and will maintain what thou hast said is false in thy heart blood, though being all too base to stain the temper of my knightly sword. Baggett, forbear, thou shalt not take it up. Excepting one, I would he were the best in all this presence that hath moved me so.
If that thy valor stand on sympathy, there is my gage, Armerle, engaged to thine. By that fair sun which shows me where thou standst, I heard thee say, and vauntingly thou spakest it, that thou wert cause of noble Gloucester's death. If thou deniest it, 20 times thou liest, and I will turn thy falsehood to thy heart, where it were forged with my ranger's
Thou
point.
darest not, coward, live to see that
Now,
day.
by my soul, I would it were this hour.
Fitzwater, thou art damned to hell for this.
Armerle, thou liest! His honor is true in this appeal as thou art all unjust, and that thou art so that I throw down my gage to prove it upon thee to the extremest point of mortal breathing. Seize if thou darest.
And if I do not, may my hands rot off, and never more brandish revengeful steel over the glittering helmet of my foe.
I task the earth to the like, forsworn Armerle, and spur thee on with full as many lies as may be hallooed in thy treacherous ear from sun to sun. There is my honor's pawn. Engage it to the trial, if thou darest.
Who sets me else? By heaven, I'll throw it all. I have 1,000 spirits in one breast to answer 20,000 such as you.
My lord of Fitzwater, I do remember well the very day, Earl, and you did talk.
'Tis very true you were in presence then, and you can witness with me, this is true.
That's false, by heaven is true.
Sir, thou liest.
Dishonorable boy! That lie shall lie so heavy on my sword, that it shall render vengeance and revenge until the lie giver and the lie do lie in earth as quiet as thy father's skull. There is mine honor's pawn. Engage to the trial, thou darest.
How fondly thou dost spur a forward horse. If I dare eat or drink or breathe or live, I dare meet Surrey in a wilderness and spit upon him whilst I say, he lies and lies and lies. There is my bond of faith, to tie thee to my strong correction. As I intend to thrive in this new world, Merle is guilty of my true appeal. Besides, I heard the banished Norfolk say that thou, Merle, didst send 2 of thy men to execute the noble Duke at Calais.
Some honest Christian trust me with the gates that Norfolk lies. Here do I throw down these, if he may be able to try his honor.
These differences shall all rest under gauge till Norfolk be repealed. Repealed he shall be. Though mine enemy, restored again to all his lands and seineries. When he's returned, against our Merle we will enforce his trial.
That honorable day shall never be seen. Many time hath banished Norfolk fought for Jesu Christ in glorious Christian field, streaming the ensign of the Christian cross, and, toiled with works of war, retired himself to Italy, and there at Venice gave his body to that pleasant country's earth, and his pure soul unto his captain Christ, under whose colors he had fought so long.
My bishop is Norfolk dead?
As surely as I live, my lord.
Sweet peace conduct his sweet soul to the bosom of good old Abraham. Lords appellants, differences shall all rest under gauge till we assign you to your days of trial.
Great Duke of Lancaster, I come to thee from plume-plucked Richard, whom with willing soul adopts the heir, and his high scepter yields to the possession of thy royal hand. Ascend his throne, descending now from him, and long live Henry, fourth of that name.
In God's name, I'll ascend the regal throne.
Mary! God forbid! Worst, in this royal presence may I speak, yet best beseeming me to speak the truth. Would God that any in this noble presence were enough noble to be upright judge of noble Richard. Then true noblesse would learn him forbearance from so foul a wrong. What subject can give sentence on his king, and who stands here that is not Richard's subject? Things are not judged, but they are by to hear, although apparent guilt be seen in them. And shall the figure of God's majesty, his captain, steward, deputy elect, anointed, crowned, and planted many years, be judged by subject and inferior breath, and he himself not present? Oh, for offended God, that in a Christian climate souls refined should show so heinous, black, obscene a deed. I speak to subjects, and a subject speaks, stirred up by God thus boldly for her king. My lord of Hereford here, whom you call king, is a foul traitor to proud Hereford's king. And if you crown him, let me prophesy, the blood of English shall manure the ground, and future ages groan for this foul act. Peace shall go sleep with Turks and infidels, and in this seat of peace tumultuous wars shall kin with kin, and kind with kind confound. disorder, horror, fear, and mutiny shall here inhabit, and this land be called the field of Golgotha and dead men's skulls. Oh, if you raise this house against this house, it will the woefulest division prove that ever fell upon this cursed earth. Prevent it. Resist it. Let it not be so, lest child's children cry against you woe.
Well have you argued, madam, and for your pains of capital treason, we arrest you here. My Lord of Westminster, be it your charge to keep her safely till the day of trial.
Fetch hither Richard, then in common view he may surrender, so we shall proceed without suspicion. I will be his contact. Lords, you that here are under our arrest, procure your sureties for your days of trial. Little are we beholding to your love, and little looked for at your helping hands.
Why am I sent for to a king before I have shook off the regal thoughts wherewith I reign? I hardly yet have learned to insinuate, flatter, bow, and bend my knee. If sorrow leave a while to tutor me to the Samson, if well I remember the favors of these men. They not mine? Did they not sometime cry all hail to me? So Judas did to Christ. Yet he, in 12, found truth in all but one. I, in 12,000, none. God save the King! Will no man say amen? Am I both priest and clerk? Well then, amen. God save the King, although he be not me, and yet amen, if heaven think in me. To what service am I sent for hither?
To do that office of thine own goodwill which tired majesty made thee offer up. The resignation of thy state and crown to Henry Fallen.
Give me the crown! Here, cousin! Seize the crown! Here, cousin! On this side, my hand, and on that side, thine. Now is this golden crown like a deep well that owes 2 buckets. The emptier ever dancing in the air, the other down unseen and full of water. That bucket down and full of tears am I, mounting my griefs, while you step up on high.
I thought you had been willing to resign.
My crown I am, but still my griefs are mine. You may my glories and my state depose, but not my griefs. Still am I king of those.
Some of your cares you give me with your crown.
Your cares set up, do not pluck my cares down. My care is loss of care by old care done. Your care is gain of care by new care won. The cares I give I have, though given away. They tempt the crown, yet still with me they stay.
Are you contented to resign the crown?
I know. No, I
I must nothing be. Therefore, no, no, for I resign to thee.
Now knock me out, I will undo myself.
I give this heavy weight from off my head.
This unwieldy scepter from my hand.
Pride of kingly sway from out my heart.
All pomp and majesty I do forswear, my manners whence with venues I forego, my acts, decrees, and statutes I deny.
God pardon all oaths that are broke to me. God keep all vows unbroke that swear to thee. Make me that nothing have, with nothing grieved, and thou with all pleased that hast all achieved.
Long mayest thou live in Richard's seat to sit, and soon lie Richard in an earthly pit.
God save King Harry, unkinged Richard says, and send him many years of sunshine days. What more remains?
No more. But that we read over these accusations and grievous crimes committed by your person and your followers against the state and profit of this land, that by confessing to them the souls of men may deem you worthily deposed.
Must I do so? And must I ravel out my weaved up folly? Tell me, Northumberland, if thy offences were upon record, would it not shame me in so fair a troop to read a lecture of them? If thou wouldst, there shouldst thou find one heinous article contained, the deposing of a king, cracking the strong warrant of an oath, marked with a blot, damned in the book of heaven. Nay, all of you that do stand and look upon us, that my wretchedness doth bait myself, while some of you with Pilate wash your hands, yet you, Pilates here, have delivered me to my sour cross, and water cannot wash away your sin.
My lord, dispatch! Read over these articles.
I cannot see. Mine eyes are full of tears. And yet, salt water blinds them not so much that they can see a sort of traitors here. Hey, if I turn my eyes upon myself, I find myself a traitor with the rest. For I have given here my soul's consent to undeck the pompous body of a king, made glory, base, sovereignty, a slave, proud majesty, a subject, state, a peasant.
My lord!
No lord of thine, thou hot insulting man! Nor no man's lord. I have no name, no title, no. Not the name that was given me at the font, but 'tis usurped. Alack, the heavy day that I have worn so many winters out, and now know not what name to call myself. Oh, that I were a mockery king of snow, standing before the sun of Bolingbroke to melt myself away in water drops. Good king, great king, and yet not greatly good. And if my word be sterling yet in England, let it command a mirror hither straight, that it may show me what a face I have, since it is bankrupt of his majesty.
Oh, son of you, such a looking glass.
Read over this paper while the glass doth come.
Peace, thou torment me ere I come to hell.
Lord Northumberland, urge it no more.
The commons will not then be satisfied.
They shall be satisfied. Read enough when I do read the very book where all my sins are written. That's myself. Give me the mirror, and therein will I read.
deeper wrinkles yet. Sorrow struck so many blows upon my face and left no deeper wound. Flattering glass. Like to my followers in prosperity, thou dost beguile me. Was this face the face that every day under his household roof did keep 10,000 men? Was this the face that like the sun did make beholders wink? Was this the face that faced so many follies and was at last outfaced by Bolingbroke? A brittle glory shineth in this face. As brittle as the glory is the face. For there it is, cracked in 100 shivers. Mark, silent king, the moral of this sport, how soon my sorrow hath destroyed my face.
Shadow of your sorrow hath destroyed the shadow of your face.
Say that again. The shadow of my sorrow. But see, is very true. My grief lies all within. And these external manners of laments are merely shadows to the unseen grief that swells with silence in the tortured soul. There lies the substance. And I thank thee, King, for thy great bounty, which not only givest me cause to wail, but teachest me the way how to lament the cause. I'll beg one boon and then be gone and trouble you no more. Shall I obtain it?
Name it, fair cousin.
Fair cousin! I'm greater than a king! For when I was a king, my flatterers were then but subjects. Being now a subject, I am a king here to my flatterer. Being so great, I have no need to beg. Yes! And shall I have it?
You shall.
Then give me leave to go.
Whither?
Whither you will, so I were from your sights.
Go, some of you, convey him to the tower.
Oh, ghost, convey. Conveyors are you all that rise thus nimbly by a true king's fall.
On Wednesday next, we solemnly proclaim our coronation. Lords, be ready, all.
Woeful pageant we have here beheld.
The woes to come. The children yet unborn shall feel the stay, as sharp to them as thorn.
Holy clergyman, is there no plot to rid the realm of this pernicious blot?
My lord, before I freely speak my mind herein, you shall not only take the sacrament to bury mine intent, but also to effect whatever I shall happen to devise. I see your brows are full of despair, your hearts of sorrow, and your eyes of tears. Come home with me to supper. I will lay a plot shall show us all a merry day.
Julius Caesar's ill-erected tower, to whose flint bosom my condemned lord is doomed a prisoner by proud Bolingbroke. Here let us rest. This rebellious earth have any resting for her true king's queen. But soft, but see, or rather do not see, my fair rose wither, yet look up, behold, that you in pity may dissolve to dew and wash him fresh again with true love tears. Oh, thou the model where old Troy did stand, thou map of honor, thou King Richard's tomb, and not King Richard. Thou most beauteous inn, why should hard-favored grief be lodged in thee when triumph has become an alehouse guest?
Joy not with grief, fair woman, do not so. To make my end too sudden, learn, good soul, to think our former life a happy dream, from which awaked, the truth of what we are shows us but this. I am a sworn brother, sweet, to grim necessity, and he and I will keep a league till death, hide thee to friends, and cloister thee in some religious house. Our holy lives must win a new world's crown, which our profane hours here have thrown down.
What, is my Richard both in shape and mind transformed and weakened? Hath Bolingbroke deposed thine intellect? Hath he been in thy heart? The lion dying thrusteth forth his paws and rules the earth, if nothing else, enraged to be all-powered. And wilt thou, pupil-like, take the correction mildly, kiss the rod, and fawn on rage with base humility, which art a lion and the king of beasts?
A king of beasts, indeed. If all but beasts, I have still been a happy king of men. But sometimes, queen, bear the ends for friends. Think I am dead, and that even here thou takest as from my deathbed thy last living leave. In winter's tedious nights, sit by the fire with good old folks, and let them tell thee woeful tales of ages long ago betid. And ere thou bid good night, to quite their griefs, tell thou the lamentable tale of me. Send the hearers weeping to their beds. For why, the senseless brands will sympathize the heavy accent of thy moving tongue, and in compassion weep the fire out. And some will mourn in ashes, some coal black, for the deposing of a rightful king.
My lords, the mind of Bolingbroke is changed. You must to Pomfrey, not unto the tower. And madam, there are orders ta'en for you. With all swift speed you must away to France.
Northumberland. Thou ladder wherewithal the mounting Bolingbroke ascends my throne. Time shall not be many hours of age more than it is. Ere foul sin gathering his edge shall break into corruption. Thou shalt think, though he divide the realm and give thee half, it is too little, helping him to all. And he shall think that thou, which knowest the way to plant unrightful kings, wilt know again, being ne'er so little urged another way, to pluck him headlong from the usurped throne. The love of wicked men converts to fear, that fear to hate, and hate turns one or both to worthy danger and deserved death.
My guilt be on my head, and there it end. Take leave and part, for you must part forthwith.
Oblique force. Bad men. Violated twofold marriage, twixt me and my crown, and then betwixt me and my married wife. Art thus, Northumberland,
I to the north, where shivering cold and sickness pines to climb my wife to France. From whence she came, set forth in pomp, adorned like sweetest May, sent back like hollow mass or short-stubbed day.
Must we be divided? Must we part?
Aye. Hand from hand, my love, and heart from heart.
Then banish us both and send the king with me.
That would be love with little policy.
And whither he goes, thither let me go.
So, two together, weeping, make one woe. Go, count your way with sighs, I mindeth grow.
So longest way shall have the longest moans.
Twice for one step I'll roam, the way being short. In peace the way out with a heavy heart. Come, come. Wooing sorrow, let's be brief. Since wedding, if there is such length in grief. One kiss shall part our mouths, then dumb we part. Must give I my I must take I thy heart.
Give me mine own again. 'Twere no good part to take on me to keep and kill thy heart. So now I have mine own again begone, that I may strive to kill it with a groan.
We make woe wanton with this fond delay. Once more, adieu. The rest let sorrow stay.
Tell the rest when weeping made you break the story off with our two cousins coming into London.
Where did I leave?
At that sad stop, my lord, where rude misgoverned hands from windows tops threw dust and rubbish on King Richard's head.
Then, as I said, the Duke, great Bolingbroke, mounted upon a hot and fiery steed, which his aspiring rider seemed to know, with slow but stately pace kept on his course, whilst all tongues cried, God save thee, Bolingbroke! You would have thought the very windows spake. So many greedy looks from young and old from casements darted their desiring eyes upon his visage, and that all the walls with painted imagery had said, Jesu preserve thee, welcome Bolingbroke. Whilst he from one side to the other turning, bareheaded lower than his proud steed's neck, he spake them thus, I thank you, countrymen. And thus still doing, thus he went along.
Alack, poor Richard, where will he the whilst?
As in a theatre, the eyes of men after a well-braced actor has left the stage are idly bent on him that enters next, thinking his prattle to be tedious. Even so, or with much more contempt, men's eyes did scowl on gentle Richard. No man said, God save him. No joyful tongue gave him his welcome home, but dust was thrown upon his sacred head. And with such gentle sorrow he shook off, his face still combating with tears and smiles, the badges of his grief and patience, that had not God for some strong purpose steeled the hearts of men, they must perforce have melted, and barbarism itself had pitied him. But heaven hath a hand in these events, to whose high will we bound our calm contents. To Bolingbroke are we sworn subjects now, whose state and honour eye for eye allow.
Here comes my son, a Merle.
A Merle that was, but that is lost for being Richard's friend. And madam, you must call him Rushland now, and Parliament pledged for his truth and lasting fealty to the new-made king.
my son. Who are the violets now that strew the green lap of the new-come spring?
Madam, I know not, nor I greatly care not. God knows I had as lief be none as one.
Well, fare you well in this new spring of time, lest you be cropped before you come to prime. What news from Oxford?
To these justs and triumphs hold. For aught I know, my lord, they do. You will be there, I know. If God prevent not, I purpose so. What seal is that hangs without thy bosom? Yea, look'st thou pale? Let me see the writing.
My lord, 'tis nothing.
No matter then who see it. I will be satisfied. Let me see the
I
writing.
do beseech your grace to pardon me. It is a matter of some small consequence, which for some reasons I would not have seen.
Which for some reasons, sir, I mean to see. I fear.
What should you fear? 'Tis nothing but some bond he's entered into for gay apparel against the triumph.
Bound to himself? What doth he with a bond that he is bound to? Wife, thou art a fool. Boy, let me see the
I
writing.
do beseech you to pardon me. I may not show.
Boy, see the writing. Treason. Foul treason. Villain! Traitor! Slave!
What's the matter?
Who's within there? Saddle my horse!
God for his mercy, what a treachery is here!
Why, what is it, my lord?
Give me my boots, I say. Saddle my horse. Now by mine honor, by my oath, by my truth, I will appease the villain.
What is the matter?
Peace, foolish woman!
I will not peace! What is the matter? Earl,
Mother, be content. It is no more than my poor life must answer.
I must answer.
Bring me my boots! I will unto the king.
Strike him, Earl. Oh boy, thou art amazed. His villain never more come within my sight.
Give me my boots.
Why, Lord, what wilt thou do? Wilt thou not hide the trespass of thine own? Have we more sons, or are we like to have? Is not my teeming day drunk up with time, and will you pluck my fair son from mine age, and rob me of a happy mother's name? Is he not like thee? Is he not thine own?
A fond mad woman, wilt thou conceal this dark conspiracy? A dozen of them here have ta'en a sacrament and interchangeably set down their hands to kill the king at Oxford.
He shall be none. We'll keep him here, then what is that to him?
Faithful fond woman, were he 20 times my son, I would impeach him.
Hadst thou grown for him as I have done, thou wouldst be more pitiful. But now I know thy mind. Thou dost suspect that I have been disloyal to thy bed, and that he is not thy son, a bastard. Sweet York, sweet husband, be none of that mind. He is as like thee as a man may be, not like to me or any of my kin, and yet I love him.
Make way, unruly woman!
After him, mount thee upon his horse, spur posting you before him to the king, and beg thy pardon ere he do accuse thee. I'll not be long behind. Though I be old, I doubt not but to ride as fast as York. Never will I rise up from my knee till Bolingbroke hath pardoned thee. Away, be gone.
Can no man tell me of my unthrifty son? 'Tis full 3 months since I did see him last. Great plague came over us to see. I would to God, my lords, he might be found. Inquire at London amongst the taverns there, for there they say he daily doth frequent with unrestrained, loose companions. E'en such, they say, stand in narrow lanes and beat our watch and rob our passengers, which he, young, wanton and effeminate boy, takes on the point of honor to support so dissolute a crew.
My lord, some 2 days since I last saw the prince and told him of these events held at Oxford.
And what said the gallant?
His answer was he would unto the stews and from the commonest creature pluck a glove and wear it as a favor, and with that he would unhorse the lustiest challengers.
Dissolute as desperate! Yet, through both, I see some sparks of better hope which elder days may happily bring forth. Who comes here?
Where's the king?
He's our cousin that he stares and looks so wild.
God save your grace. I do beseech your majesty to have some conference with your grace alone.
Withdraw yourselves and leave us here alone. What is the matter with our cousin now?
Forever may my knees grow to the earth. my tongue cleave to my roof within my mouth, unless a pardon ere I rise or speak.
Intended or committed was this fault, if but the first. How heinous ere it be to win thy afterlove, I pardon thee.
Then give me leave that I may turn the key, that no man enter till my tale be done.
Have thy desire.
Villain, I'll make thee say thy revengeful hand. Thou hast no cause to fear.
Open the doors and do the morning king! Do I belong to treason to thy face? The door I will break it open!
What is the matter, uncle? Speak! Recover breath! Tell us how near is danger, that we may arm us to encounter it.
Bruce is writing here, and thou shalt know the treason that my haste from me.
Remember as thou readst thy promise past. I do repent me. Read not my name there. My heart is not confederate with my hand.
It was villain ere my hand did set it down. I tore it from the traitor's bosom, king. Fear not, love begets his penitent. Forget to pity him, lest that pity prove a serpent that will sting thee to the heart.
Oh, heinous, strong, and bold conspiracy!
O loyal father of a treacherous son!
Thou, sheer, immaculate, and silver fountain, from whence this stream through muddy passages hath held his current and defiled himself! Thy overflow of good converts to bad, and thy abundant goodness shall excuse this deadly blot in thy digressing son.
So shall my virtue be his vice's bard, and he shall spend mine honor with his shame, as thriftless sons their scraping father's gold. Mine honor lives when his dishonor dies, or my shamed life in his dishonor lies. Thou kill'st me in his life, giving him breath. The traitor lives, the true man's put to death.
What shrill voice suppliant makes this eager cry? Our scene is altered from a serious thing and now changed to the beggar and the king.
My dangerous cousin let your mother in. Now she's come to pray for your foul sin. If thou do pardon whosoever pray more sins for this forgiveness prosper may. This vested joint cut off, the rest rest sound. This let alone will all the rest confound.
Great king, believe not this hard-hearted man, love-loving not itself, none other can.
Thou frantic woman, what makest thou here? Shall thy old dogs once more a traitor rear?
York, be patient. Hear me, gentle liege.
Rise up, good aunt.
Not yet, I thee beseech. Forever will I walk upon my knees and never see day that the happy cease till thou give joy. Until thou bid me joy by pardoning Rutland, my transgressing boy.
Unto my mother's prayers I bend my knee.
Against them both my true joints bid thee. Ill mayest thou cry, but thou grant any grace.
Pleads he in earnest? Look upon his face. His eyes do shed no tears, his prayers are in jest. His words come from his mouth, ours from our breast. He prays but faintly and would be denied. We pray with heart and soul and all beside. His weary joints would gladly rise, I know. Our knees still kneel till to the ground they groan. His prayers are full of false hypocrisy, ours of true zeal and deep integrity. Our prayers do outpray his. Therefore, let them have that mercy that true prayer ought to have.
Good aunt, stand up.
Do not say stand up, say pardon first, and after stand up. And were I thy nurse, thy tongue to teach, pardon should be the first word of thy speech. I never longed to hear a word till now.
Speak it in French, king. Say pardonnez-moi.
Dost thou teach pardon, pardon to destroy? Oh, my sour husband, my hard-hearted lord that sets the word itself against the word. Thine eye begins to speak. Set thy tongue there. Or, in thy heart, plant thou thine ear, that hearing how our plaints and prayers do pierce, pity may move thee, pardon to rehearse.
Good aunt, stand up.
I do not suit to stand. Pardon is all the suit I have in hand.
I pardon him, as God shall pardon me.
Oh, happy vantage of a kneeling knee. Yet am I sick for fear. Speak. Speak it again. Twice saying pardon doth not pardon twain, but makes one pardon strong.
With all my heart, I pardon.
God on earth thou art.
But for our trusty brother-in-law and the abbot with all the rest of that consorted crew, destruction straight shall dog them at the heels. Good uncle, help to order several powers to Oxford, where these traitors are. They shall not live within this world, I swear, but I will have them if I once know where. Uncle, farewell. And cousin, adieu. Your mother well hath prayed. Prove you true.
Come, my old son. I pray God make thee new.
Didst thou not mark the king? What words he spake? Have I no friend who'll rid me of this living fear? Oh, was it not so?
These were his very words.
Have I no friend, quoth he?
But he spake it twice, and urged it twice together, did he not?
He did.
And in speaking it, he wished he looked upon me, as who would say, I wish thou wert the man that would divorce this terror from my heart. Meaning the king at Pomfrey. Come, let's go. I am the king's friend, and will rid his foe.
Studying how I may compare this prison where I live unto the world. And for because the world is populous, and here is not a creature but myself, I cannot do it. Yet I'll hammer it out. My brain, I'll prove the female to my soul the father, and these two beget a generation of still breeding thoughts. And these same thoughts people this little world, and humors like the people of this world, for no thought is contented. The better sort, as thoughts of things divine, are intermixed with scruples, and to set the word itself against the word, as thus. Come, little ones. And then again, it is as hard to come as for a camel to thread the postern of a small needle's eye. Thoughts tending to ambition, they do plot unlikely wonders. Are these vain, weak nails of mine? They tear a passage through these flinty ribs, my ragged prison walls, and for they cannot die in their own pride. Thoughts tending to content flatter themselves that they are not the first of fortune's slaves, nor shall not be the last. Like silly beggars who, sitting in the stocks, refuge their shame. That many have, and others must sit there. And in this thought they find a kind of ease, bearing their misfortunes on the back of such as have before endured the like.
Thus play I, in one person, many people. And none content me. Sometimes I am a king. And reasons make me wish myself a beggar. And so I am. Then crushing penury persuades me I was better when a king. Then am I king again. And by, think that I am unking by Bolingbroke and straight am nothing. But whate'er I be, nor I, nor any man that but man is, with nothing shall be pleased, till he be eased with being nothing. Music do I hear? Keep time! How sour sweet music is when time is broken, no proportion kept. So is it in the music of men's lives. And here, the daintiness of ear, to hear time broke in a disordered strain, but for the comfort of my state and time, and not an ear to hear my true time broke. I wasted time, and now doth time waste me. For now hath time made me his numbering clock. My thoughts are minutes, and with sighs they jar their watches on unto mine eyes, the outward watch whereto my finger, like a dial's point, is pointing still in cleansing them from tears. So, sighs and tears and groans are minutes, times, and hours. But my time runs posting on in Bolingbroke's proud joy, whilst I stand fooling here his jack of the clock. This music mads me. Let it sound no more. But though it have hold madmen to their wits, I fear in me it will make wise men mad. Yet blessing on his heart that gives it me, for 'tis a sign of love. And love to Richard is a strange brooch in this all-hating world.
Hail, royal prince!
Thanks, noble peer. The cheapest of us is 10 groats too dear. What art thou? How comest thou hither when no man comes? That sad dog which comes to bring me food to make misfortune live.
I was a poor groom of thy stable, king, when thou wert king, who travelling towards York with much ado at length have gotten leave to look upon my sometimes royal master's face. Oh, how it earned my heart when I beheld in London streets that coronation day, when Bolingbroke rode on Rowan Barbary, that horse that thou so often hast bestrid, that horse that I so carefully have dressed.
Rode he on Barbary? Tell me, gentle friend, how went he on board?
So proudly as if he disdained the ground.
So proud that he was on his back. That chains and he bread from my royal hand! This hand hath
made him proud with clapping him.
Would he not stumble? Would he not fall, since pride must have a fall, and break the neck of that proud man which did usurp his back?
Forgiveness, Horus. Why do I rail on thee? Since thou was created to be awed by man and born to bear. I was not made a horse, though I bear a burden like an ass. All spurred and tired by galloping, falling through.
Fellow, give place, there is no longer stay.
Thou lovest me this time upward.
But my tongue dares not that my heart shall say.
My lord, will it please you to fall to?
Taste of it first, as thou art wont to do.
I dare not. Pierce of Exton, who lately came from the king, commands the contrary.
Devil take Henry of Lancaster and thee! Haste stale, and I weary of it. How thou wilt be set in this root assault? Go thou! Another room in hell! That hand shall burn in never-quenching fire that staggers thus my royal person. Exton! Thy fierce hand hath with the king's own blood stained the king's own land. Now, mount my soul, thy seat is up on high. While my gross flesh sinks downward here to die.
As full of valor as of royal blood. Oh, have I spilled? Oh, would the deed were good! For now the devil that tells me I did well says this deed is chronicled in hell. This, the dead king, to the living king I'll bear. Take hence the rest and give them burial here.
Latest news we hear is that the rebels have consumed with fire our town of Ciceter in Gloucestershire. But whether they be ta'en or slain, we hear not.
Welcome, my lord. What is the news?
First, to thy sacred state, I wish all happiness. The next news is I have to London sent the heads of Surrey, Blunt, and Kent. The matter of their taking may appear at large discourse in this paper here.
Thank thee, gentle Percy, for thy pains, and to thy worth will add right worthy gains.
My lord, I have from Oxford sent to London the heads of Brockus and Sir Bennet Seeley, two of the dangerous consorted traitors that sought at Oxford thy dire overthrow.
Thy pains, Fitzwater, shall not be forgot. Right noble is thy merit, well I wot.
The grand conspirator abbot of Westminster, with clog of conscience and sour melancholy, hath yielded up his body to the grave. But here is Carlisle living to abide thy kingly doom and sentence of her bride.
Carlisle, this is your doom. Choose out some secret place, some reverend room more than thou hast, and with it joy thy life. So as thou livest in peace, die free from strife. For though mine enemy thou hast ever been, high sparks of honor in thee have I seen.
Great King! Within this coffin, I present thy buried fear. Herein, all breathless, lies the mightiest of thy greatest enemies, Richard of Bordeaux, by me hither brought.
Exton, I thank thee not, for thou hast wrought a deed of slander with thy fatal hand upon my head and all this famous land.
From your own mouth, my lord, did I this deed?
They love not poison that do poison need, nor do I thee. Though I did wish him dead, I hate the murderer. Love him, murder it. The guilt of conscience take thou for thy labour, but neither my good word nor princely favour. With Cain go wander thorough shades of night, and never show thy head by day nor light. Lords, I protest my soul is full of woe that blood should sprinkle me to make me grow. Come, mourn with me for what I do lament and put on sullen black incontinent. I'll make a voyage to the Holy Land to wash this blood from off my guilty hand. More sadly after grace my mornings here, and weeping after this untimely bier.